Please help me welcome to our stage the one and only Pollyanna McIntosh and Gabriel Jones. Woo!
How's it going, y'all? All right.
Hello.
Okay, come on. Show them some love here. You're going to do better than that. Yes,
Thank
yes,
you.
yes.
This would be a wonderful alarm clock.
Oh, I
just to
know.
wake
What
up to
that?
this. Oh.
Record it. You want us to yell for you? We'll record you. You can put it
No,
on
it's
there.
I like knowing that shouting from a window. Then I don't know if I'd appreciate it as much.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
I'm just going to take this memory. I love it.
Oh, I love it. So have you two been to Houston before?
We did. We came last year. Well, I came last year for
Yes,
Fandemic.
Fandemic,
This
yes.
is my first time in Houston, and the longest I've been in Texas is when we did the premiere for Darlin.
Yes.
And I was in Austin for 7 hours.
For 7 whole hours.
I didn't even get to pee.
Okay.
We made a movie together and we premiered it at S.W.A.T. and Cooper was super busy with the show and he was like, oh, you're only going to be able to be there for 7 hours. And I was like, yep, I'll see you soon then. And he came because he's that kind of guy.
Well, we're going to get to walking into stuff in just a minute because you brought it up. Go ahead and talk about it. I mean, the two of you together in this movie. So what was that like for you guys?
It was so much fun.
It was a blast because for those of you who watch the show, Jadis and Jerry never got to hang out. And I feel like they would have still gotten along. I think Jadis would have been
I
pretty
think so
cool with
too.
Jerry.
She likes a joke and he's always got one up his sleeve.
Yeah, I think he'd been really fascinated by all the junkyard stuff. But her movie Darlin, it was cool because it was after we finished. It was like right after we finished season 8, and I was like, "Do you want to keep acting and do a movie together?" I'm like, "Yes." Want to go to Baton Rouge? Sure. But it was this awesome experience. I don't know who's seen the movie, but
Has anyone seen Darlin yet?
You got it?
Oh, you got something coming.
Yeah. We did a movie and it's awesome and you should watch it. It's available on everything.
Yeah, it's on, iTunes and Apple TV and Amazon and Hulu and Vudu and Sling and all that. It's not on Hulu. Vudu and Sling and Google Play and Sony Play and all of that jazz. It's also available at Walmart.
And we're about to spend the next 2.5 hours watching it all together with all the bonus people.
You had no idea. You've got nothing else to do after this, right? Yeah, and it's a horror coming-of-age movie. Cooper plays Tony, who is a nurse at the hospital where a young girl shows up from the woods. She's been living in the woods for 10 years. She's like a feral, seemingly savage girl. And she comes into this hospital, which is run by the church. And wow, it's so echoey. And,
hello.
Hello.
Thoughts?
And Cooper's character, Tony, is really the heart of the film and connects with her and wants her to do well. But she's whisked off to this Catholic care home, and they try and convert her from a wild child into a good girl. But it's a horror movie, so it doesn't go according to plan.
It's kind of the right season to be watching it.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah. And I play the woman who's the sort of mother character of Darlin and is coming to find her and bring her back to where she belongs, which means that we get to have some really fun stuff where I'm using him to get to her and he's doing his best. But I'm very vicious and look completely filthy and have this very, very long hair wig on. And it was just a lot of fun,
A ton of fun.
We even got stopped by the cops when we were doing this car scene together.
Wait, excuse me? What?
Yeah.
We were
tell.
doing this scene where we're trying. I'm sorry, water. Where we're trying to find Darlin, and we're in the car together, and her character, I assume, has never ever been in a car before, ever. And so it's just this yelling and screaming, and I'm trying to calm her down.
He's trying to keep control of the wheel, so it's quite a bustly.
Exactly, and so I'm like going left and right. Well, we went a little past our kind of our
genuine
area.
Police escort that we had lost us at this point.
And I'm now still swerving, and then woo! And there's that's my Ric Flair. And then there was with the stutter, and there was an actual cop car pulling us over. And now she has the long hair, dirty face,
claws,
brown,
fucked up
coat,
teeth, excuse my language.
Black, just black eyes, it was just messed up. And, we're struggling, and the cop just comes up and he's like, "How's it going? You guys okay?" And I was like,
I'm like, oh, sir, we're just making a film. And what did he say?
And I was like, yeah, we're just doing a movie. And there's a big camera and 2 people running it in the back seat. Like, I'm kind of thinking, like, help us out. This is a big camera. It's not like just a normal. I mean, it's like a giant film camera. And so the guy's like, I need you to step out of the car. And you know, again, covered in, you know, all this shit. And she still has her, you know, her lovely accent. Sir.
Excuse me, officer. I didn't ask to speak to you, ma'am.
I didn't ask to speak to you. You do not need to come out. Sir, I need you to come out of here. So I get out of the car, and he's like, I need you to see your license. And I'm like, okay, so we're making a movie. Okay. I'm in a costume. I don't actually wear this on a normal basis.
He's dressed as a nurse.
Yeah. Like, I'm in my nurse scrubs. And he's like, so you're telling me you don't have your license? I do not. I'm just thinking, why is your hand like this? Like the whole time, dude. Like, just walk away. I was like, there's some ways I thought that I would go. I was hoping it wouldn't be dressed as a nurse, you know, on a side road in Baton Rouge. But it was...
He was twitchy, this guy.
Yeah,
he was twitchy.
I was like, I had to say, your friends are down there, your friends. And it was like, you know, I mean, how do you save face after that? The guy's like, well, I mean, goes in his car. I'm like, good talk. I'm gonna throw up now.
So just to make sure, you 2 did not go to jail.
No. We didn't.
Not that time.
And the guys running the camera behind you were not at all going to help you out.
No, they were just like...
Yeah, I was like,
That's messed
nothing?
up.
Like, yeah, we're shooting this. It looked like we were capturing them. They're like, so I'm looking from his perspective. He sees 2 people in the back seat, and they're like cowering. Yeah. You know, and I'm just like, all right. And we're, you know...
We're fighting, essentially, in the front. So.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm swerving the car, and it was bad.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful day.
When you don't even have your license? Well, no. Here's the thing, sir. Yeah, it's... Oh, my gosh. And then there's those rare moments when you feel weird and silly saying what you do for a living.
Yeah.
So I say lines that people have written for me, and I dress up like this. And I do it in front of a camera.
Thank God we're with so many cosplayers. You guys understand, right? You guys know what it is.
It's a weird thing to say. Oh, so what else do you do? It's like that. I mean, you know,
that's it.
I like it. It's my job.
So for any other reason to go see this movie, you need to go see it. So when that scene pops up, you know exactly what it took to make that scene.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And you also need to support female filmmakers because this is one I wrote and directed, and there's a lot of us out there. But you know, thank you.
And it's
Kudos
so good.
to you.
I really want to see you directing, definitely directing The Dead. Also, I mean.
Oh, yes.
There's just I mean, Polly has like this wonderful insight, just this different approach at a look, and so even if things are going to be actiony, it's not bombarded. There's still like a reason for everything, and there's what's the word, nuance that you're able
that
to
one,
do? Yeah, I like that.
I was just saying to someone who was talking about horror movies and how much he loves to see European horror movies, and I was saying, I think the difference is probably that the European producers accept that the audience has got smarts and understands nuance and wants to see it. And it's not that the American audiences don't have that capacity, it's that the producers don't believe that the audience do. I mean, I don't know if that relates to you guys, but we don't want to be treated like we're stupid, do we? We want to be treated like we've got the time and energy and intelligence to follow a story and get all the nuance in it. So, yeah.
I totally agree with you.
That's the kind of movies I'll be continuing to make.
And also, I mean, just please do that. And also, you're an example for so many of the women in this room, and men as well, that women can do it. And we need more of you. And so thank you for what you're doing. We really appreciate that.
You're welcome. I'm doing God's work.
Thank you, Polly.
Now, if you were to direct a Walking Dead episode, what would be the ideal situation for you?
Oh, that's a really good question, isn't it? Well, I'm quite excited by some of the changes that are happening this season, and with Maggie coming back, for instance. And she's one of the ones that I watched from the very beginning and, you know, loved. And I mean, I didn't watch it from the start. I actually got into it when I had the audition and I started catching up on the show. But those early seasons, obviously, are what made the show what it is today and what brought all you guys to it. So it would be really fun to direct her, for instance. But, you know, I'd like to see Rick back, and I'd like to see Rick and Michonne back together, and, you know, lots of things. But I think it would just be so much fun to work with these guys that I love so much, and with this world that I love so much, and get some really good action going. Action where you can see every move, you know. And I think the sort of Walking Dead classic for me would be one of those scenes where there's lots of gore, there's lots of action, but there's so much heart as well, so that we're all really invested in that action. That would be fun.
Very much so.
Yeah.
All right. What did you love or continue to love about your character?
Oh, I love Jerry's consistency. It's like a thick, tacky dough.
Yeah.
But also his consistency as a human being is just, there's no drama with him. I mean, what you see is truly what you get with this character, and I find it really rare in this show for someone to not be dubious and not have a ulterior motive to do whatever, and it's fun for me because Jerry is very much, heart on his sleeve kind of character. And so I have other people like preparing, like getting into the mode, like getting super, hardcore into it. And I'm just like, I'm like watching cartoons.
You're just like, heart check.
I was like, just watch cartoons before I start filming, and then let's do this, guys. Great day. Great day for a war, But just his loyalty. I mean, just how he when we first met the Kingdom, and I was reading the script, and at the end, Ezekiel comes to Carol's cottage with the tiger, and he pulls up a pomegranate. He's like, "You really gotta try one of these," and he does that whole thing. Before he said you gotta try one of the pomegranates, I'm like, "Oh no, he's gonna kill Carol." He's gonna kill Carol. Oh man, I'm one of the bad guys. I'm with the bad guys. And then he was like, try a pomegranate. I'm like, no, I'm good guy. I was like so happy about it. And it was just so nice because I didn't want to be like, I didn't want to be a new group, new enemy. It's just, oh wow, hey, strangers can be nice. And that's what I like about Jerry. And I still like about Jerry.
I love that. And what about you?
Slightly different. Strangers
Yes, I
can be
know.
nice.
Completely.
For a while until they're not. I just loved her confidence and her focus, and that she's completely unafraid of people's opinion of her. She knows exactly who she is and exactly how she's going to do things. And she also has fun with people.
She does.
That weird language is just as much designed for her enjoyment. With obviously those scenes in Rick, as to see how somebody reacts to the weirdness, and to get a sort of handle on that character that she's dealing with, these new people. So I just really liked her sense of herself, and I love the fact that she's an artist as well. For all the sort of ills that I can't really say ills like this. For all the ills that she did to the good guys that I'd watched and loved, she had a great loyalty to her people. And and then you just became so the unexpected. You never knew what she was going to do next, and that's really fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Plus, I kind of liked all that weird, Berlin look that she and her people had.
And we did too.
Andrew Lincoln and I were up on that platform for a long time during that scene, that ended season 7. Thank you. That ended season 7. Where the big turnaround where she betrays him. And so we were sat up there for a long time, and a lot of that time was spent singing, "She's a model and she's looking good." Because I was like, we look like fashion Berlin people, don't we? We look like, all in black and everything, just super cool. Like we'd run an underground sex club at night, But it was no big deal because we were in that band that played there, It was just fun.
I love it. Well, I'm going to ask a couple more questions, but I know you guys out there want some questions. So let's go ahead and start lining up at the microphones for those of you who want to ask questions of these two amazing artists. So we'll be able to get to those quickly. I hear through the grapevine, most people know about a movie, a film for The Walking Dead. What? Is there something like going on with that?
Is there?
I bloody well hope so, right, guys?
Yeah.
We need to know what happened to Rick.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I need to know a lot of stuff, actually.
Yeah.
But
There is a lot of other worlds going on.
What do you guys...
So there's 3 movies planned.
Yeah.
And it would make sense that Jada /Anne / whatever's next would be in the first movie. It's going to be, a theatrical release. It's going to be a big old doodah day, which is great, because I remember seeing one of the episodes when we crossed over with Fear. We did some of those, I think you did one as well, where we were in theaters with the episode of Walking Dead that crossed over into the Fear the Walking Dead episode, where Morgan crossed over. And it was so cool seeing it on a big screen like that. It's really designed, it just suits it because it's, shot on film like so few things are now, and so well planned. So I'm excited about doing that. And that's all I can really say. I just know that everyone wants to know about A's and B's, and so I want to share it with everyone. I want to be able to talk about it.
A little bit. I mean, those crumbs we'll take some crumbs, right? A little bit of crumbs, I'll take that for sure. What about you?
I mean, well, it just occurred to me, this is one of those few panels where there's actually two characters that are still alive.
Yes, I know. That's so rare.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, hey, we're not dead. That's cool.
Go for a walk.
This is nice. We're still doing it. The thing I am most excited about with the movie is I think for us it's obvious, but I mean with the show we get 8 days to film an episode. All right, 8 days.
It's a really, I think you guys all know this, but it's sort of known in the business, our show, as being completely insane what we achieve in that time.
Yeah, it's because we have to do so much, and there's so much and so many things that are sacrificed, and they'll be like, why did they fight this way? It's like, well, because we had 8 days, and but now we get to do, well, I say we, but I mean when I say we, I say all of Walking Dead, but now we get to see a Walking Dead where it's an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever, and they're gonna have months to spend on it and really put the time in that I think the show deserves, and that's why I am super excited to see on the big screen just, where am I? Who are you? Oh, I'm gonna do this take 30 more times because we have time? Sure. Where am I? Who are you? What else would you like? Just to know they have those options makes me feel good.
I'm looking forward to seeing Andy again and doing, seeing him both on the screen as a fan and also hopefully working together, because that guy is so much fun and his focus is so intense, and he's been such a great leader, hasn't he, for the show? And,
I mean, and even now, like, all of us are trying so hard to make him proud. It's like, all right, I really want to goof off right now, but Andy's not here to tell us not to, so I guess I'll.
Well, one more question I'm going to ask before we get to the audience. I'm just kind of switching gears here. Little Shazam.
Oh.
Are there any Shazam fans out here?
Yeah.
Okay, I knew it. I mean, what was it like being a part of that? Seriously.
Oh, I mean, that was just. That was a vacation of
I was about to say.
Compared to, I did Shazam. So this is a story I do love telling. So, right after season 8, like I was saying, that's when Polly was talking about Darlin, and I got, I did this audition, and they really liked me for Shaft, and it was gonna conflict with Darlin, and I already knew I was gonna do Darlin, but I still had to say it out loud, and like I needed to hear it, and so I was talking to Pollyanna about it, and her, and and she, first off, you were so cool about it because she said, like, I'm not gonna tell you what to do, and not in like a no anger in it kind of way. She's like, I'm not gonna tell you what to do. This is obviously your career, but this is, just think about what the projects are, and you look at, a movie like Shaft that has this, way more money than they deserve, and way more money than it deserved, and hers where they pulled out the like a lot of money, like in the last week right before her filming, and so she had to get super clever, and it was really fun. That's a whole other thing, but she just talked to me, and then after that I was like, decision made. That was super easy, and I let them know I'm not doing Shaft, and I'm not going to do that movie, and.
Basically, just to add to that, Coop was being asked to play a role that he'd played before, essentially.
Yeah.
It was a sort of usual heavy type situation. And weren't they wanting you to be Chinese or something?
It was like Hispanic. I don't think they would have really cared what my nationality was. It was just more, they wanted me to be like this drug dealer dude kind of guy.
And there's a lot of pressure on actors, obviously, to ensure that you keep your visibility high. And so, your reps, as is the rep's job, was saying this will get you seen a lot and it's good money and and all this stuff. And my thing with him was like, do you really want to do it? Because don't let the fear of somebody saying to you, you need to do this because X, Y, Z, you're going to do all that stuff anyway. You're going to do huge stuff, and it's going to be huge stuff that you want to do and that a character that you're going to get into and love. And just know that, that's the reps. What reps do is they sort of, they can, you're an emotive person, as most of us are, and we do all have this sense of imposter syndrome where we think, oh, maybe we'll never work again because maybe we're actually not, because we're so lucky,
Is this it?
So just know that in yourself, whatever decision you make, you are going to continue to work, you're going to be loved, and you're going to continue with a huge career. So this is not your last chance, right?
Right, and it was, but it was.
I know the story is going to tell, and that's relevant.
Yeah, it was just a super. It just felt, it was like one of the best pep talks I ever had in my life, and. Halfway through filming Darlin, that's when Franklin decided to hit me up with this with their audition, and I remember taping it in the hotel room, and I couldn't read it with anybody because everyone was working, and so I stuck a iPad on a lamp with my cell phone recording it in front of it, and I put, because I didn't know the lines, and and my laptop so my buddy can read via Skype the female part, and that was for Shazam, and I booked it. And had I done Shaft and not done Darlin, I wouldn't be doing Shazam. I wouldn't be getting to do more Shazams. And so it was just, what do you want to do? So it was her advice was like, thank you.
You're welcome.
You need to be a counselor for all actors. You know that, right?
Yes.
Because you're so good at it.
I will do that.
All right, let's get to some of the fan questions. Go ahead, Captain Kirk.
Captain Pike.
Pandy, that's right. Oh my gosh, I'm tired.
I wouldn't have made that mistake. I'm sorry. No, I'm kidding. I
Of course
told
you
you.
wouldn't, Cooper.
I just want to say.
So thanks for coming, guys. This question's actually for Pollyanna. You just mentioned the odd manner of speech that Jadis/Anne had. Was that difficult to master, or did you find yourself, did you have to do something? Because most dialogue is relatively natural to say, but her speech was a little weird.
Well, if anyone knows my history as an actor, well, I'll tell you now. I've played a lot of really weird characters, and one of them was a feral cannibal woman, in The Woman, and one of them was a witch, covered in red with 4 arms, and in Tales of Halloween, and it's kind of become a bit of a thing, playing Shelob, the giant spider on the video game, Shadow of War, and so Middle-earth, Shadow of War. And so for me, the weirder, the better, really. And I tend to really enjoy finding the reality within that strangeness. And it's odd because I got a couple of pages through for the audition for Jadis, and it just fit really well. As soon as they said she's slightly regal and that she treats him a bit like a child, the language totally made sense to me, because there's that thing of power, isn't there, where you don't give too much away. And you're controlling the room. Something I never do. I'm always like, blah, 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 blah. But those people who kind of step back a little bit and just give you a tiny bit. It's like, well, for me, it just makes me feel uncomfortable, unless they're just really shy. But that's the point of that language, and that was what she was trying to do, was make him feel uncomfortable, in my mind, in order that she could understand his personality. So because there was purpose to it, it felt very natural and very normal. And actually, when I became Anne, it felt much weirder to be speaking in full sentences. I kind of came up with 3 reasons for the language, which was A, what I just mentioned, B, to kind of bond the community, that they all had a common language, and C, for speed, to just get things done fast, especially when there's so many opportunities for emergency, obviously, in the apocalypse. So with reason, it made sense, and it was enjoyable to do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your
Welcome.
question.
Hello, how are y'all?
Hello.
It's
how
so
are
good
you?
to have y'all here. I always ask the same question. Being a retired teacher, it's always nice to know if you had a teacher or a mentor or someone in your life that inspired you.
Yeah, for me, it was Mrs. Reader when I was 5 years old. I mean, she's called Mrs. Reader. What better name for a teacher,
That's a great name.
And I was a kid I was living in Portugal at the time with my family, and she was very kind and very calm, and she just sort of emanated goodness, I suppose. And I think that's really inspiring and good for a kid to see, and I think she did that. She just gave me a lot of grounding at a young age when I needed it. So that was her. And thank you for being a
You're
teacher.
welcome. Thank you. Cooper, what about you?
Teacher for me, I had, it was in high school, I guess Miss Barnett, she was our English and drama club teacher. But it was more that her style, I wasn't a fan of school. Everyone kind of knew it, but, I liked doing all the extracurricular stuff. I was in marching band, drum major, drama club, all that stuff. Yearbook, I think.
Like you don't remember. You're like, I love the yearbook.
I may not have done yearbook. I think I did yearbook in 8th grade. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. Just all these extracurriculars. But, a lot of it, I think a lot of the teachers knew that I wasn't going to be going into,
Physics.
I wasn't going to be a scientist. So they the other teachers, they let me kind of do the artistic stuff. They just sort of, like my chemistry teacher. I really should thank the teachers that just let me skip their class. And I skipped so much, but they knew what I was doing, and so they always, I had this great deal in high school where I got to just take finals, and if I did well in the finals, then they would pass me. So I usually passed. But I still got to go to summer school every year, but that was fun. To me, school, I've always enjoyed the people watching aspect of things. I like imitating people. Not so much like celebrity type stuff, but I like imitating people I know. I just kind of like using mannerisms and stuff like that, that I might catalog and use for later for other characters. It's just fun. And summer school was definitely a great time for that. So I appreciate everyone that made it so I didn't have to go there, and everyone that made it so I did go there. So everyone wins.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, thanks for coming. My question is kind of just like a general question. So I know you mentioned that like filming takes like 8 days. So is it like hard to like kind of keep yourself in check? Because I feel like I'm not in film or anything, but every time I'm in front of a camera, I'm always like laughing. So it's like, how do you like maintain yourselves? Like, or does it take a lot of preparation, or like who usually takes the most takes, or who messes up the most kind of thing?
Who sucks the most, Umar?
I hope this is being filmed.
Who really sucks up the time on set?
Yeah, exactly.
With multiple takes. No, I like to get there's things I'll find super funny, and I'll laugh before. I'll sort of do a silly, depending on what it is, but I'll do like a silly kind of rehearsal, or just to kind of get it out. Because sometimes it's like, if I don't do it here, it's going to happen during a take. Like when Jerry is telling Ezekiel that he's about to have kids, I did it during the take, and I did it because I didn't. This is what happens when you don't do it in the rehearsal. But I was like, I'm going to be a majesty, your daddy, is what I said to him. I was like, dude, I'm gonna be a majesty, your daddy, and like I say it like that, and I was like, and the whole time though, I'm like, don't say that, majesty, your daddy. Keeps going, and so it's good to kind of shake it out. But yeah, I think if anyone busted too many takes, I think you would, I think there'd be more pikes out there than there were. So
Yeah, it's a very disciplined set. Actually, it's a very disciplined situation, and time is money on all of these things, but especially on a show that you love and you get so much from. You hope that everyone's in the same boat, where they're like, it may be hilarious to crack yourself up once, or once in a blue moon, but it really doesn't. In my experience, it doesn't happen. I don't think I've ever seen it happen where someone started decking themselves laughing, because you are not just wasting your own time, but you're wasting everyone's time on set, right, yeah, and everyone's vision, and there's so much respect for what is being created for you guys too, that like everything means something. You get from your trailer to set as fast as you can, you do as good a job as you can, exactly, and you don't mess up because other people are going to get They're going to have to deal with it. But I do like to watch outtakes of things like Friends or whatever and see them cracking up.
Yeah, they
because-
never show those.
Yeah, I just saw it on YouTube the other day.
Or for The Walking Dead, I mean.
Oh, for The Walking
Yeah.
Dead. Okay. So, let me tell you where you can find outtakes of Friends. Okay. Yeah, blooper reels. We have the blooper reels at the rap parties.
At the rap party. They
do
exist.
blooper reels, yeah.
But not for us.
Yeah.
I have
They
a-
should do them as extras on
Agreed.
the DVD.
Share, please.
Yeah.
We want to see them.
In my head, I have flashes of every time I've seen Melissa McBride fall over. I work with her
So are you
so
saying
much.
she's the one that messes up the most?
No, she doesn't.
We need names.
That's not what I said. But,
Okay, Dog's the one.
yeah, dog. It's like, come on, dude, come on. All right, we're taking out your speech. Melissa. She'll do her dialogue. Like there was season 8, the Some Guy episode with Shiva's death and everything. She's like, come on. And then she just turns around and slowly falls over, but like she wasn't stopping herself. But she fell so slowly that I was like, "Are you falling?" And so the whole crew was going to help her, and Kari and I are the closest to her, and we're like, "I don't get that choice, but you're great." do it there.
I think my favorite. Sorry, did I interrupt you?
That was it, yeah.
Thanks. I think my favorite story about Melissa, as far as like, not that there's tons of stories about Melissa, this is getting weird, but one of my favorite stories from the show that sort of proves the intensity of the work was Melissa doing a scene where she had to cry. And she was crying in the scene, and she did the scene. I've just noticed you guys, you look fabulously odd. Hello, green head like girls. And she was crying in the scene, and it was going, and she stopped it and said, "Oh, I'm sorry, can we go again? I was crying for the wrong reason." Melissa McBride, my God, right?
She's so good. She's so good at this stuff.
Yeah, she's amazing.
But what's great about watching her act is that she'll go from, it'll just be like a really silly moment, or we'll just talk about eating whatever, and then action, it's on. I'm like, damn. But I was a boom operator for over 10 years, and which is the sound guy. I did, that was my job. And man, if an actor laughed or they did that, I feel like they watched the blooper reel on too many shows, and they think
they want to be in it.
They're like, I can't. I want to like smack them with the pole. It's like, I know it's great because you've been here for 3 hours, but I've already been here for 10, and I'm gonna beat your head in with this
Arms
stick.
like being up here for those.
Yeah, I'm like this, like the whole time. Like, is it good? Is it really funny? But here's the thing: I'm not laughing. Yeah, the biggest, and I did. I've worked on like a few comedy things, and I feel like the goal for them was try and make me laugh, and that would never happen. I would be unamused. So I only make me laugh.
All right, cool. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, y'all.
Hello, good to
Is
see you
that
again.
Jennifer?
Good to see y'all again.
Hello.
I thought of a couple of questions to ask you, Pollyanna. It's about your character of Jadis. The first one is when you had the scene in the trash dump where you lost all of your people, and it was such a tragedy, and it was so sad. What I wanted to know was, for you as an actress, how did you prepare for such a sad, tragic storyline on that show?
Good question, thank you. I tend to make music mixes for those kinds of occasions because, God forbid, you're up there and you can't get truly emotional. Again, wasting everybody's time. So I have all the preparation. I know who she is. I know her motivation for everything. You've done all that work. But then in the moment, I like to just have these mixtapes of kind of truly depressing, tear-jerky songs that can get me there. And then you sort of do I do sort of self-torture stuff to get me, obviously genuinely emotionally upset, because in the moment it usually happens. But when you're dealing with green screen and you're dealing with, all sorts of things and stopping and starting, obviously your true emotions when you're upset can go up and down. Right. And so I like to keep the realism. So I think about awful things that have happened to me, to other people that I care about. I thought about my sisters dying when I was talking about, what this used to be.
Sorry to hear
losing
that about
my
your sisters.
Oh no, they didn't die. I
Oh,
just
okay.
made them die in my head.
Okay.
Sorry, thanks for clarifying.
They're fine.
I thought about my sisters dying. No, I thought about what
it
if
did
my
happen.
sisters
Yeah.
were dying. So
I use that as my trick too.
yeah,
Think about
right.
sisters.
He thinks about my sisters dying too,
Yeah.
because I have 3 sisters. So they're obviously super close to me, and or maybe not so obviously, but they are. And I mean, because not everyone's close to their family. To be fair, just sometimes it doesn't happen that way.
Yeah.
But in our case, it did. And so I thought about that, and then I just kind of have a substantive other option if it's not enough with, because to be fair, in the scene where everyone got killed, I did feel it happening as it was going on,
Right.
but we didn't shoot that, did we? So I didn't really have a visual of everybody
Right.
going down, you know.
And that's what I was thinking, the greens. How can you prepare for that when you probably didn't have the visual?
You have to be slightly masochistic to be an actor, because you do have to, in my feeling, and I think it's the same for you, you do have to feel these things. I mean,
Yes.
you have to really feel. I remember I did this movie called Love Eternal, which is a strange and interesting horror movie, which I'm very proud of, out of Ireland. And I played this woman who'd lost her 5-year-old son in a car accident, and just thinking about it or talking about it just makes me so upset. I spent like a month feeling like I'd lost a 5-year-old kid that I never even had. I don't even have
I can't even
children.
imagine losing Cassie.
But in character, you have to feel these things. So it's like you do kind of have to be a bit torturous to yourself, to make it work. But it pays off in the end, doesn't it? And then you're just like, yes.
Yeah. It was beautiful. You did a great job with that.
Thank you.
And if you don't mind me asking another quick question, just out of curiosity, I know that you never really, know for sure, but your interpretation of it, though, whenever you kidnapped Negan and then you let him go,
yeah.
I just have to ask,
Yeah.
why do you think the character of Jadis let him go? I just had to ask that.
Thank you. I think she had seen so much death that was painful to her at that point, that she really believed that it wasn't him who made it happen, and it wasn't him who made it happen. So she was right.
Yeah.
So there was that, and I think, of course, they had that connection as well, where she saw his previous life and his losses.
And you got a glimpse of kind of a little bit of the real Negan in that too, in y'all scene.
Yeah, and it wasn't that she thought, oh, poor Negan, he's such a nice guy, he had a wife. Well, yeah, it doesn't give you the reason to go killing everybody and doing all the awful things he did. But, she made difficult choices too, and she caused a lot of, death herself. So,
yeah.
But I think also majorly, as far as being smart for her needs as well, she felt that he would go back. She believed that he would rectify the situation, which he did.
Right, he did.
That he would, spoiler alert, from seasons ago, that he would go back and take care of getting rid of the person that did do it. So it was like she was taking care of what she needed to take care of, and also he could be useful to her in the future.
Exactly.
As much as she's repulsed by him, he he runs a big crew, so he could be useful too.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
Great questions from all of you. We only have about a minute and a half before we have to wrap up. Do you want to say something?
Yeah, no, it was back onto the you'll get people like, well, they didn't actually die. It's like, true, but while we're filming it, it feels like they're actually dying. Like there's no, when you're acting, it's not pretending. Like it's you are living that moment. And so sometimes we have to do like take after take. So I can't imagine like the meat grinding of everybody, but just to have to turn it off and then turn it back on, and the whole day you're kind of, at least for me, you get into like kind of like a loopy state. Because even though, that was great. Yeah, the football game was good. Okay, let's do it again. But you are living those moments. You are definitely in that moment. It ain't the most fun all the time for that.
Yeah. No, I mean, seeing Sabrina's, who played Tamiel, and seeing Thomas Francis Murphy, who played Breon, go down, and seeing all these people that were like my people, in this Walker state, which is just so she felt guilty too for causing this because she made the wrong choice at the end of the day. She was in a very difficult situation, and she was up against a lot of armed dudes, but she's in charge of these people, and she was the reason that they were all going down, because they were under her care. So I think there was plenty of guilt going on too.
I remember when the kingdom all got shot up and killed, I was there for my buddy Carlos, who was helping Ezekiel get by, and then he gets shot through the chest and drops. And I was there to watch all that because I was looking at the Gunther character. And after that day went over, I was like, I needed to see it. And so we had talked earlier, but the last thing I had said to him before I left, I said with all seriousness, is I'm gonna kill you. And I walked out. And that's the guy split in half. But yeah, that was definitely some real rage when I was doing that chop. Felt good.
What a lovely way to end it.
Yes.
Well, I mean, we love the show. The fans love the show. They love what you guys are doing. Make sure you go see, of course, download their new movie. Watch
Darlin.
it. Darlin. You've got to check it out. Support them. Support The Walking Dead.
There's no G on the end, just
No.
an N apostrophe.
An apostrophe, that's
And I've
it.
got DVDs and Blu-rays at the table too.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah.
Ooh, for
Yeah, and
sure.
posters.
So get them,
Yeah.
people. Pollyanna
It's
McIntosh,
so fun.
everybody. Cooper,
It really
Andrew,
is so
thank you
fun,
so
yeah.
much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And thank you for your character still being alive.
Thank you.
Still alive.
This is Goku. Thanks for watching. And remember, don't forget to subscribe. Yeah!